You know, it seems like everywhere you turn lately, AI and music, it's like all anyone's talking about.
It really, I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of those things you hear and you're like, oh, wow, that sounds super futuristic. And then you're like, wait a minute.
Right.
It's like happening now.
It is happening now. That's why we're diving into this article, The Rise of AI-Generated Music, What It Means for Artists and Listeners.
A fascinating piece.
What was the thing that surprised you most when you were reading this?
I think for me, it's just how many different ways AI is being used in music. Because
Right.
we always hear about like, oh, AI is composing music.
Right.
But it's so much more than that. It's like AI is being used in production and
Oh.
music discovery and even to create these super personalized listening experiences.
Okay, so let's back up for a second.
Okay.
What exactly is AI-generated music? I mean, I gotta admit, it still sounds a little bit mysterious to me.
Sure. Well,
Like, how does it work?
it's actually subtler than it sounds, if you can believe it.
Okay.
Basically, you have a computer program and it analyzes a massive amount of musical data.
Oh, wow.
Think of it like sheet music, recordings, even live performances.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then the AI uses all that data to basically learn the patterns and the structures of music, almost like
Like a
going
tune.
to like a conservatory.
Yeah, but much, much faster.
Exactly, much faster. And the AI can then use all that knowledge to create original compositions.
Wait a minute, hold on. Original compositions. Like, it can write a whole song from scratch.
It can.
Wow.
And it can even tailor it to very specific parameters. So imagine you want a piece in the style of Bach,
Okay.
but you want it with a modern electronic twist.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
You can actually tell the AI that, and it will generate something totally new, but still in line with those guidelines.
So you're telling me that I could have my personal Bach meets EDM composer at my fingertips?
Pretty much, yeah. There are tools like OpenAI's MuseNet and JukeDeck that let you do just that.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty cool, I think.
You set parameters, and then
Yeah.
it generates a bunch of ideas you can work with.
Yeah, I think a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, are robots going to replace musicians?
Yeah, I can see why people would worry about that,
Right.
but I don't think that's necessarily the most likely outcome.
Okay.
I think that AI is much more likely to become a really powerful tool for human musicians.
Okay, so more like a collaborator than a competitor.
Exactly. Think of it as a super talented bandmate
Oh, I like that.
who's always up for jamming and just brainstorming new ideas,
Yeah, totally.
throwing stuff at the wall.
Absolutely. Are there any like real world examples of this happening? Like, are there artists out there that are using AI in their creative process?
Oh, absolutely. There are tons of interesting collaborations happening right now.
Wow.
One example that comes to mind is the artist Holly Herndon,
Okay.
and she actually performs with an AI system that she created called Spawn.
She performs live with her AI. What does that even look like?
Well, she uses Spawn in a couple of different ways.
Okay.
Sometimes Spawn will generate these harmonies that would be impossible for a human to sing.
Oh, wow.
Or it creates these otherworldly textures from Herndon's own voice that literally sound like totally new instruments.
Wow, that sounds incredibly innovative. It really pushes the boundaries of what we even think of as music.
And that's what's so exciting about this whole field.
Yeah.
It has the potential to unlock these whole new creative possibilities for artists, help them overcome writer's block, discover new sounds, and even venture into genres they might never have considered before.
It's like having this like built-in source of inspiration.
Totally.
Right, always there to kind of nudge you in new directions.
Exactly. And that's just scratching the surface. You know, AI is also making big waves in the world of music production.
Okay, so you're saying it's not just about composing.
Right.
It's involved in the whole process of like making music.
The whole process. So think about all the technical aspects of music production.
Okay.
Mixing, mastering, sound design, all these things.
Right.
Incredibly time consuming.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories.
Yeah, really tedious.
But my musician friends spending hours tweaking tiny little details.
Totally. Well, imagine if you could just hand all of those tasks off to an AI.
Oh, wow.
So there are platforms like Landar and Ava that can analyze a track and make adjustments in a fraction of the time that it would take a human engineer.
Wow.
It's pretty amazing.
So it's like having a virtual sound engineer working behind the scenes.
Yeah, tireless. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And the results are pretty incredible. They can really polish a track and just bring out the best in the music.
It makes you wonder, if AI can handle all of that technical stuff,
Right.
what does that free up musicians to do? Like, what could they create if they had all that extra time and energy?
That's the really exciting part. It
Yeah.
allows them to focus on the heart of their art, the songwriting, the performance, the emotional connection.
I imagine it could also lead to a lot more experimentation and risk-taking if you're not so worried about spending hours and hours
Exactly.
on the technical side of things.
If you can offload that to AI.
Totally.
Totally.
And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of how AI is impacting music, the listening experience. Okay, so now we're moving from the creator side to the listener side.
Exactly.
What's happening there? How is AI changing how we experience music?
Well, one of the most interesting developments is the rise of personalized music.
Okay.
So imagine if music could adapt to your mood, your location, even your heart rate, like in real time.
Okay, now that sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah, right.
Is that even possible?
It is. It's already happening.
Wow.
So platforms like Endel are creating these soundscapes that are based on your personal data.
Okay.
So think about how Spotify and Apple Music already curate playlists based on your listening history. This takes it to a whole other level.
So it's like having a soundtrack that just evolves with you throughout the day.
Exactly, and it go beyond just matching your mood.
Wow.
AI can also help you discover new music in ways you never even thought possible.
You mean like suggesting new artists and genres I might like?
More than just suggestions.
Okay.
It can actually make connections that human music curators might miss and introduce you to music you wouldn't find on your own.
So it's like having like a personal AI music guru
Yeah.
guiding you through this vast universe of sound,
Yeah, like a...
helping you find these hidden gems.
Absolutely, and that's really just the beginning.
Oh, wow.
The future of AI and music is full of even more mind-blowing possibilities.
Okay, well, hold on. I want to hear about that.
We're going to get there.
Yeah.
But before we get too lost in the future,
Right.
I think it's helpful to take a step back and talk about what's happening right now.
Okay, sounds good to me. I'm definitely ready to hear more about how this is all playing out in the real world.
All right, so let's dive into some of the most exciting things happening right now.
Yeah, what are we seeing? What out there?
With AI and music,
Yeah.
so much. Well, for starters, we're seeing AI being used in some pretty unexpected places.
Okay, like where?
Did you know that some film composers are using AI to help them score movies?
No way. So instead of like a composer sitting at a piano,
Right.
they've got like an AI algorithm helping them come up with these like sweeping orchestral themes.
It's not quite that simple.
Okay.
But yeah, the basic idea is that AI can help composers generate musical ideas and even create entire sections of a score.
Wow.
It can be especially helpful for tasks like creating atmospheric background music or like generating variations on a theme.
That's wild. It makes you wonder if we'll ever reach a point where like the entire soundtrack of a movie is composed by AI.
It's definitely a possibility.
Wow.
And it's not just film scores. AI is also being used in video games, commercials, even creating those catchy jingles you hear on the radio.
Wow. it's really starting to feel like AI is infiltrating every corner of the music industry.
It really is.
But what about the artists themselves? Are there any musicians out there who are like fully embracing AI and making it a central part of their sound?
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah. There's a whole new wave of artists who are experimenting with AI as a creative partner.
Wow.
Some are even forming bands with AI as a virtual band member.
Wait, a band with an AI bandmate? That's taking things to a whole new level.
It is.
Wow.
And it's raising some really interesting questions about what it even means to be a musician in the age of AI.
Right.
You know, for some artists, it's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible,
Totally.
creating sounds and textures that would be literally impossible for humans to achieve on their own.
It reminds me of those early electronic music pioneers
Yes.
who were like messing around with synthesizers and drum machines back in the day.
Totally.
And it was just like this whole new sound world that people had never heard before.
Exactly. It was,
Yeah.
and AI is kind of like the next evolution of that,
Yeah.
opening up even more possibilities for sonic exploration.
I'm starting to get a sense that this is more than just a technological shift. It feels like AI is changing our whole relationship with music, both as creators and as listeners.
I think that's a really insightful observation.
Yeah.
And it brings up some of the bigger questions
Okay.
surrounding AI and music.
Like what?
For example, how will listeners react when they find out that a song they love was actually composed by a machine?
Yeah, that's a good question. Will people be open to it? Will there be resistance? Will it even matter to them?
It's hard to say for sure,
Right.
but my hunch is that as people become more familiar with AI-generated music, they'll start to appreciate it on its own merits.
Okay.
I mean, after all, what really matters is whether the music moves you, whether it connects with you emotionally,
Right.
regardless of who or what created it.
Right, that makes sense. But what about the musicians themselves?
Yeah.
Is there a concern that AI could take away jobs or devalue human creativity?
Well, I think it's important to remember that AI is a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool,
Yeah.
it can be used for good or for ill.
Right.
It's really up to us as humans
Yeah.
to decide how we want to use this technology.
Right.
If we use it wisely, AI has the potential to really empower musicians, to help them reach new creative heights.
So it's all about finding that balance between human creativity and AI's capabilities.
I think so.
Okay, well, how can our listeners actually experience this AI music revolution for themselves? I mean, it still feels kind of abstract and out there.
Well, there are a few ways you can jump in.
Okay.
One is to just explore some of the AI music platforms we've mentioned,
Okay.
like MuseNet or JukeDeck.
Yeah.
Many of them offer free trials.
Oh, nice.
So you can play around and see what they can do.
So even if I don't have any musical background, I could still try my hand at composing with AI.
Absolutely. You don't need to be a Mozart to experiment with these tools.
Okay.
In fact, many of them are designed to be super user-friendly and accessible to everyone.
That's cool. It's like democratizing music creation, giving everyone the power to compose.
Exactly. And you might be surprised at what you create.
Yeah.
You could discover a hidden talent or just have some fun.
Yeah, totally.
Playing around with different sounds and styles.
I'm definitely going to check that out.
Awesome.
But beyond just like experimenting with AI tools, how else can people engage with this new world of AI music?
Well, streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music
Okay.
are increasingly using AI to curate playlists and recommend new music.
Oh, right.
So you might already be listening to AI-generated playlists without even realizing it.
That's interesting. So in a way, we're all kind of participating in this AI music experiment, whether we know it or not.
I think that's one way to look at it. And as these AI algorithms get more sophisticated,
Right.
they'll just become even better at predicting your taste and recommending music that you'll love.
Okay, so we've got AI helping us create music, curate playlists, even score movies.
Right.
Is there anything AI can't do when it comes to music?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, let's hear it.
Some experts believe that AI is on the verge of creating something truly groundbreaking. Entirely new genres of music, sounds that are unlike anything humans have ever conceived.
Wow. Entirely new genres? You mean like musical styles that don't even have names yet?
Exactly.
Wow.
Think about it. AI doesn't have the same limitations as human composers.
Right.
It can process and combine sounds in ways that our brains simply can't comprehend.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. So we could be on the cusp of a whole new era of musical exploration, all thanks to AI.
It's definitely a possibility.
Wow.
And this leads to another intriguing question.
Oh, okay.
What happens when AI starts to create music that's specifically designed to evoke emotions we don't even have words for?
Emotions we don't have words for. That's getting deep. Are you suggesting that AI could unlock a whole new spectrum of human experience through music?
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it?
It is.
Imagine music that taps into emotions that are beyond our current understanding,
Right.
feelings that we haven't even evolved to experience yet.
Wow.
AI could be the key to unlocking those hidden realms of human consciousness.
Okay, I'm officially on board with this AI music revolution.
Right, it's pretty amazing.
But I do have one nagging question. If AI can create music that's so personalized and emotionally resonant, does that mean that it can actually understand human feelings?
That's the million-dollar question.
Right.
It really is, and it's one that philosophers and scientists are still grappling with.
Yeah.
Can a machine truly understand human emotions?
Right.
Or is it simply mimicking patterns that it's learned from data?
Yeah, it's like, is AI actually feeling those emotions or is it just putting on a good show?
Exactly. And to be honest, we just don't have a definitive answer yet.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to remember that even if AI can't truly feel emotions,
Right.
the music it creates can still evoke really powerful emotional responses in us, the listeners.
That's a good point. Does it really matter if the AI is feeling the music, if it makes me feel something profound?
Precisely. Ultimately, music is about communication.
Yeah.
It's about connecting with something larger than ourselves.
Absolutely.
And if AI can facilitate that connection,
Yeah.
even if it's in ways that we don't fully understand,
Right.
then it's made a valuable contribution to the world of music.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it.
Thank you.
It makes you wonder what other surprises AI has in store for us
Yeah, for sure.
in the world of music.
Tons of them.
Speaking of surprises, you mentioned earlier that there's something that could like completely redefine the way we think about live music performances.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
This is where things get really futuristic.
So, okay, you mentioned live music performances.
Right.
Lay it on me. What does AI have to do with live music?
Okay, so imagine this. You're at a concert.
Okay.
The energy is electric. The band is about to launch into their next song. But here's the twist. There is no set list.
Okay.
The music is being composed in real time by AI.
Whoa, hold on. So you're saying the music is like being created on the spot, right there on stage by AI?
Exactly. It becomes a truly interactive and unpredictable experience.
Wow.
Yeah, the AI acts like a conductor, shaping the flow of the music
Wow.
based on like a multitude of inputs, creating this sonic landscape that's never been heard before and will never be repeated.
So it's like a musical conversation between the musicians, the audience, and the AI.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, it blurs the lines between performer and listener, creating this collective immersive experience.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. How would that even work in practice?
Well, think about all the advancements we've seen in wearable technology and biosensors.
Okay.
Musicians could use devices that track their heart rate, their movements, even their brainwaves, and feed that data into the AI.
So the music would literally be like a reflection of the musician's emotional and physical state in real time.
Exactly. It would be a deeply personal and expressive form of music.
Wow.
But also a collaborative one because the AI would be blending those individual expressions with the collective energy of the audience.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. I can't even imagine what that would sound like, but I'm sure it'd be amazing.
I think so.
This all sounds so futuristic, though. Are we even close to seeing this kind of thing happen in real life?
It's closer than you might think.
Really?
Yeah, some artists and technologists are already experimenting with these concepts.
Wow.
And as AI and sensor technology continue to advance, I think we'll see more and more of these kinds of interactive AI-powered performances in the coming years.
This is all so exciting, but I do have to ask, are there any downsides to AI's growing influence on music?
That's a good question. It's important to acknowledge that, as with any powerful technology, there are potential challenges. We've talked about the impact on musicians and the questions of ownership and creativity,
Right.
but there's also the issue of control. As AI becomes more sophisticated, who gets to decide how it's used in music?
So it's not just about the technology itself, but also about who has access to it and how it's controlled.
Exactly, and it's crucial that we have these conversations now to ensure that AI is used in a way that benefits both musicians and listeners.
That's a really important point, it seems like. With every amazing technological advancement, there's always this shadow side that we need to be aware of.
Right, and that's why discussions like this are so important.
Yeah.
We need to be informed, we need to be critical, and we need to be proactive in shaping the future of music.
Well said. So to wrap things up, what's the one key takeaway you hope our listeners walk away with from this deep dive into AI and music?
I think the most important thing is to be open-minded and curious.
Yeah.
AI is changing the music landscape in really profound ways.
It is.
And it's up to all of us to explore those changes, to ask questions, and to be part of the conversation.
I couldn't agree more. This has been an incredible journey,
It has.
exploring the past, present, and future of AI in music.
It really has.
And it's clear that this is just the beginning. Who knows what incredible sounds and experiences await us in the years to come.
The possibilities are truly endless, and that's what makes this such an exciting time to be a music lover.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI and music.
My pleasure. It's been fun.
Until next time, keep those sonic vibrations flowing.